the August 21st regular meeting, the Virgin Valley Water District Board of Directors. And we're going to go ahead and open the meeting, and it is 5:01. So with that, the meeting is called to order. We will go ahead and have prayer and pledge. Mr. Miller, would you like to give the prayer?
Okay. Our Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this opportunity to serve our fellow men, and we hope that you'll watch over us, that we make the right decisions that are beneficial and fair to all concerned. We ask you to watch over our folks that are in harm's way, and we ask these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please stand. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Sandra, can you hear okay?
I can hear fine.
All right, thank you. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and move on to public comment. If there's any public comment, if you'd just please stand, give us your name. No public comment. All right, seeing no hands, we'll go on to board comment. Sandra, I'm going to start with you, because we tend to forget the person on the microphone, so did you have any
Well,
comments?
I do have one tonight. I would just like to say what a great interaction that I have had with Mary and Ken and the front office staff and the field staff, and that I've never had a problem with getting information of any kind or relaying of messages, and I just want to thank them for the great job they do and the relationship that I've been able to have with them.
Well, thank you very much. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Any other comments? No. President's comments, I would just basically second what Sandra, what you just said. I've had the same experience, and it's a real pleasure to work with all of them, and including Mr. Smith that's here as well, and of course our trustee attorney, Mr. Bean. So with that, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Any items on the consent agenda the board would like to see moved for independent discussion?
I don't have any.
No? Any in the public? The public, none there, so we'll go ahead and seek a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items 1, 2, and 3.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor, if you could just say aye or nay.
Aye.
Okay, that's 4 in favor. We have 1 absent, so that motion carries. Going to item number 4, which is for discussion, possible action, consideration to award a contract and notice to proceed for the Canyon Crest Apple Wash grading cleanup. Ken, you've just given us some bids here, if you want to maybe just touch on that real quick, about what happened there.
Thank you, Mr. President. Along this part of Canyon Crest, there's a turnout for future connection. 2-inch high-density polyethylene pipe, and it was just a pipe that was going up off the side of the road, where the new road is going to be basically doubled over on the other side of the median and become 2 lanes both directions. We don't know why, but the brass valve on the end of that pipe that's extending off into the grade there, into the side of the road, blew off sometime before 5:30. We don't know how long, but we got the call at 5:30. Probably not very long, because it was sending a lot of water down. Eroded a lot of dirt, sent a fair amount of dirt into the culvert that went under the road. Fortunately, didn't really go on the road, and then into Abbott Wash, where there's a retention basin there. So, the city came out, looked at it with us, and appraised the work that they'd like to have done to restore the grade. Basically, we agreed with them. We did get a contractor who said, "Oh, I can get that done in 2 days with a bulldozer," but when I thought about it, I was like, it's not really impairing anything the way it is, so we went ahead and put together a bid package. 3 people came out, 3 contractors, after we sent it out to the 10 normal, we sent it to all the locals. 3 came out to the site for the walkthrough. 2 bids came in, they were only $50 apart, so we picked the low one. It's the responsible bid. Trade West, our recommendation is to award to Trade West for $4,800.
Amazing how close.
Phenomenal.
$50 between the two, 4,800 and 4,850. We were just talking about that earlier, it looked like that's the gas from Milwaukee to get up there, where Milwaukee is from. Yeah.
Could you tell us who the other company was, please?
You bet, the Trade West, which is a local company here, and then the other company is Eagle View Construction, and they're located in Milwaukee.
Thank you.
Okay. Must be the gas, huh?
And this was educational for us too, in that we're thinking that, okay, since these larger lines have an isolation valve with a grade can, and you can turn it off at the main, the guys decided we're gonna do that for the rest of these 2-inch lines that are out there just waiting for construction in the future.
Yeah, there's still a few of those around town.
A few around town.
Yeah. Okay, any discussion from the board?
Nope.
You're able to hear all of that, Sandy?
I heard all that.
Okay. With that, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the bid from Trade West for $4,800 for the rehabbing of Canyon Crest.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion second, all in favor? Aye, we got 3 ayes and 4 ayes, all right. That motion passes, 4 in favor, 1 absent. So we will move on to our next item, which is discussion and for possible action in districts, drug and alcohol policy. It's for a drug and alcohol-free workplace and includes the district's option to test employees under certain conditions. The board may consider amending this policy in regards to some or all classes of employees, and also include pre-employment scheduled and random drug and alcohol testing. And we all received in our packets Mr. Bowler just, Mr. Bowler just showed up. Someone let him get seated and get his book open there. Rich, we're on number 5.
What, you didn't wait for me?
No, we waited like 1-2 weeks for him.
Yeah. Yeah, we've already emptied the trough once. So. You didn't miss anything too exciting, so, all right. Okay, so, back to where we were, number 5. This is a discussion of the drug policy, Rich, and it's in your book, I'm sure you already have it, so. Ken, if you want to maybe take the lead on this and talk about this a little bit. I know that we've talked about it as a board a time or two, and this is the policy, actually, the policy you're recommending here is the one from our insurance company, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's the alternative that you might consider, or some blend of the two of them. My experience is mostly from, my previous employment. And the people with the most extensive policy was the city of San Jose. We had periodic testing unannounced for our heavy equipment operators, just figuring those guys cause the most harm to themselves and other people. so they had the commercial driver's license. We did not have periodic testing for anyone else. However, the city of San Jose had a good policy about recognizing behavioral changes in your personnel, and that was reason enough to ask them to have, or request that they have, testing for drug or alcohol. With that background, I requested PoolPack to give our supervisors that training, which they did last year. Pardon me. And we've set up that training again for September 12th. So as a minimum, we can do that testing whenever we want, whenever we see a behavior that does not seem appropriate. And I think that's, personally, I think that's an effective policy as long as your supervisors are trained and responsive. But I really wanted to let the board, in their opinion, to discuss it and decide if they wanted to go one step further. We could have, or 2 or 3 steps. We could have mandatory testing before hiring. We could have mandatory testing for people who drive heavy equipment, have a commercial driver's license. We could have periodic random testing for them or anybody else. I think it's determined by what you feel is most appropriate. You may consider intrusiveness, expense, whatever you'd like to consider.
What's our current policy as it stands now?
Simply that's included also. It's very brief. It says employees can't possess or use any of this intoxicating products or liquor during their working hours, and they may be asked to or required to submit to testing procedures at the district's expense to detect the presence if there's reasonable suspicion. One of the reasons that we would do that also is because, of course, there's many reasons why people could have behavior that is not normal for them. Maybe they're under stress or family problems or pharmaceuticals or diabetes or just had a bad night.
Okay, I'm gonna open this up to the board. And then maybe if you could tell us what recommendations we're getting from PoolPack, because I think that would be interesting, because they're working with a lot of municipalities and other government agencies all over the state.
They said we're okay, we're protected the way we are, but they have a fuller policy if we want to take parts or all of it. But they said that we are acceptably covered.
I've got a couple comments. As far as drug policy or a drug policy, I have one problem with turning it over to supervisors to make a determination if they think that somebody is impaired at any given time. Number one, it opens you up for you're picking on me type thing. Plus, it throws into the cog human error. I deal with people on drugs every day.
Some of them you can't tell.
Some of them you cannot tell, and others you can tell immediately that they are having that they're on drugs. I think the supervisors should be able to request it if there is adequate proof that they be drug tested. But using that as our only defense, I don't think it's good enough, especially with the situation that we've had in the recent past. It's not enough. And then testing only those that use heavy equipment or have a CDL. If you have a CDL, you have to have a physical every year. I'm not sure if they get how extensive that is as far as blood work done, testing goes. I know with the fire department, we have a full drug eval every year with our physical. and it's mandatory, you have to have it every year. So, I don't think you, my personal opinion is limiting it to only those that operate heavy equipment or that have a CDL. What do we have, guys that have CDLs? 4? So
Yes, we have exactly.
well, Mary gave me from the bullpen, I got the 4. So, I think that it needs to be, my personal opinion is, I think any employee should be subject to a drug test, random drug test at any time. Number one, as a public servant, I feel that you should be held to just a little bit higher standard than Joe Public.
Joe who?
Because Public.
Oh.
Joe Public. Not Joe the plumber, Joe Public. Because, it's public entity. So that's, I think our policy should be also that if there's any kind of accident, it's a mandatory. If you're in a traffic accident, regardless if it's your fault or their fault, you go in for a drug test right then. That's all I have to say right now.
You have your hand up, I think.
No, I didn't.
Well, Richard did.
No, that's it.
I just got a question. I'm kind of surprised the state or the county doesn't have some perimeters for us to go by, isn't there?
Yeah, I pulled up a statute, NRS 284, that has some very, very specific guidelines related to drug testing and when you can do it, when you can't do it. Some of it, Kenyon is right on some of these things. However, there are also a lot of things in here that limit the ability of the state government to do drug testing. I was quite surprised at how protective the state employees are. Having said that, based on the research that we've done, it looks like NRS 284 does not apply to a political subdivision like the Water District. So there are some guidelines in here, and I can go over those with you if you want,
Yeah,
as
well-
ideas, but I don't think that we would be bound to these. I pulled a drug manual as well, looked at the one from Pool Pact regarding drivers, people with CDLs. There's also one that's put out by the state of Nevada that has helpful information in it. I guess from what I can tell, the district, the board would be free to adopt a policy that it believes to be reasonable. I don't believe that you're specifically limited to NRS 284. What I might suggest, if you guys do want to change the policy in any way, is maybe give some direction that, look, this is what we're thinking, this is what we'd like to see. We can go ahead and put that together with staff or however that you guys want to do that. And then, I don't know how detailed you guys might be in your instructions tonight, but if you're very detailed, maybe it's something that we put together and then bring back on a future agenda and you guys finalize it and approve it.
That sounds good. I agree with Kenyon. I think absolutely across the board. Absolutely, when we get a new hire, they should be drug tested. Anytime they're involved in an accident, anytime there's a workman's comp claim, anytime a supervisor or the supervisor's worker feels like there's a problem, then, they should bring it forward. We should, doesn't have to be a supervisor over somebody. Obviously, if the supervisor's subordinate thinks that there's a problem, brings it forward to somebody, there should be a test then too, so. And I think there should be a random test
Sandra?
across the board.
I agree with everything that's said. I think it's really important that we do a pre-employment and a random for any and all employees at any given time, that without any reason, if we decide, there should be one that should happen at least once a year. And I don't believe in scheduling official. I think that these always should be random. And I agree with the accident. I think it's important that we add these things to our policy.
And the way I understand it, it's right now it's a urine sample, is the way that.
No, it's just a cheek swab. It's
Oh,
very easy.
cheek swab, yeah.
Okay, Sandra, did you want to make a motion?
I'd be willing to make a motion that we take the drug policy that we have, Chapter 10, Drug and Alcohol Policy Summary, and add to the fact that we would also include a pre-employment and a random drug screen at any given time, and also to include any time there's an accident.
I think
How
that.
about a workers' comp claim?
And a workers' comp claim. Thank you.
I think one thing that we do need to look at though is how is this gonna be managed and how's it gonna be run? You know, if I'm the, not limiting you out there, Ken, but since you're in the general manager seat, you know, if I'm the general manager and I gotta, you know, how am I gonna run this random drug test? Do I have a hat in my office with everybody's name in it, and once a month I go in and pull a name out? Is the general manager the one that runs it? You know, I know that there's some businesses out there that's what they do. That they do they're over random drug tests for companies, and they come in and they, you know, okay, it's your turn today. You go down right now, you get drug tested, you come back.
If we continue, I'm sorry.
No.
If
But-
we continue to have the city do the testing, we can only do it Monday through Thursday.
Yeah. But I think that there's a cost that's gonna end up coming with that once again, we have not budgeted for. We need to find out, you know, what kind of costs we're looking at, and if we do have the money somewhere in the budget, or, you know, is it something that we're gonna have to,
I'd rather pay for that than a trip to Washington DC.
Yeah.
That's just taking a cheap
Yeah.
shot.
across the bow?
But Wes, you had your hand up, you
I'm
had
just-
some
I'm
input
just
there.
gonna confirm, I've been involved in two situations where there are outside agencies that will come in and manage the randomness for you. In fact, they can actually put, with the small selection that we've got in terms of number of employees, they can actually put us as a part of a bigger pool. And then they just do random draws on that. I've worked for two other organizations where that happens. I went a year and a half without getting tested on one of them, and got tested 2 months in a row
So
after that, so.
along with Sandra's motion, and you think we should direct staff to come up with the language to provide for the motion, and also come up with some possible, actually augment the budget and come up with some possible methods to.
Like
handle the
administrative
rent.
plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
administrative plan.
Yeah, I think that if we add into that motion, Sandra, that we have management and our legal counsel get together on this, I think it's pretty straightforward what we want. Make sure that we have everything in line there, and then have a way in which that it can be taken care of, and what the cost is gonna be before we and then bring it back once we have all that. Because I don't want to get down the road, you know, throw in a hasty drug policy, and the first person we test throws out a lawsuit that, you know, because it's, and now we're in a lawsuit because we're violating their personal rights.
Yeah. The good thing is that we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. There's
Right.
entities that have already been through this stuff. There's, you know, ways that this is done that is acceptable and ways that it's not. With respect to your point, Kenny, about having the supervisor have open discretion to determine whether or not a person is or is not, there's things in place there regarding forms that can be filled out specifically describing why, and it has to refer to, like, you know, the way they were speaking, the way they smelled, the way, you know, all of those different things. It can't just be, well, I just, you know, I thought he was. It's kind of like a probable cause
The
to.
needle hanging out of his arm.
Yeah.
Okay, Sandra,
Hold on one thing, Wade had a comment.
Wade Polson, Lincoln County Water District. Just a suggestion, Pool Pack could probably have dealt with this, and I believe they have programs already in place in other areas. Might be helpful to contact them. Also, SIIS also has a full-blown program. In my previous life, we dealt with SIIS, which is the State Industrial Insurance Group, and they had exactly what you're talking about. If there was an accident on the job, it's automatic drug test. They do all the pre-employment screenings and everything else, so that might be another avenue for you.
Okay. All right, Sandra.
Well, I have two thoughts with this. I don't have the problem adding, the fact that we would ask the manager and legal to write this up and bring it back to us. I don't feel that the fact of a random drug screen being any reason other than the fact that at least once a year a random drug screen should be done, and that this is part of policy, and the employees will expect that. Now, if you're questioning why somebody may think somebody needs one, that may be a different story. But I still believe that there should be a random drug screen at least once a year.
I agree.
I also believe that cost, I think this is such an important issue. True, we have to stay within lines of budget, but I think this is such an important issue that I don't believe that budget should be the issue as to a decision made whether we do this or not.
Right.
So changing my motion, or adding to my motion that we have manager and legal bring back the proper wording and check out the costs, or check out the laboratory that may be willing to do this for it.
And direct West to find somewhere to draw the money to pay for it.
I think, budget, I think it's an important thing, Sandra, but I do think that we have a responsibility as a board to know where that money's coming from and how we're gonna spend it. I don't know I have no idea what it will cost to have a random drug test for however many employees we got. I have no idea. So to just say that I would, I want it done and that's the bottom line. I do want it done, but if it's $100,000, which I don't think it's gonna be, but if it were, I wanna know where that money's gonna come from.
Maybe we can just come back with
I
a
think
few
Sandra
options,
covered
like,
that, actually. She said that to check it out, find out what it is, and bring it back. So I think it's already covered in the motion.
That's the longest motion in our history.
It's a good one, though.
It's a good one, though, Sandra. Did you write it all down, Sandra?
Basically, what I said was,
We heard you, yeah.
okay,
Mary's got it.
all
Yeah.
right.
I'll second that motion, Sandra.
Okay, it's been seconded.
So I go down in the archives as seconding the longest motion ever.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 4 and 5 in favor. So the motion carries. All right. Thank you, Sandra.
Well,
We won't put you on the spot again.
okay.
Can I make a comment on this next item before it's brought up?
Yes, you may.
Bunkerville Town Board hasn't had a chance to see this. Their meeting isn't until the 30th of this month.
Yeah, it's the last Thursday, sorry.
So I would, before we even get it on the table, I'd like to hold this until Bunkerville Town Board has had a chance to discuss and give us their recommendation on how they'd like to see this go down.
Yeah, I'm also curious as to whether or not the city of Mesquite has any input, or if they're putting
It was on the,
On the agenda for next week.
It's on the,
next week.
once again, I'd like to get their opinion on.
I agree. I think we should table it and see if there's gonna be a workshop before we.
Yeah, see if there's a need.
I'm kind of leaning that way, but we gotta keep in mind that time is
And I realize that, but once again, this is one of those issues that I think is very important, and I don't want to rush into anything and then get it out there and find out that, the city has no desire to change it, which once again, it's our, it's basically our call at the end. But I think we all represent people in the community.
Yeah, I agree, we need their input, it's
And I would like
obviously
to
gonna
have-
affect
have-
them, but
yeah.
bottom line is we represent the water district,
Yeah.
and we need to do what we feel is best for the water district, so.
Yeah, I think one of the other things too is that our consultant has made it real clear to us that this is one of those items that definitely needs some public input, so we're probably gonna have to have a couple of
Yeah.
public input meetings as well, so.
If it gets to that
Yeah.
point, I agree
Yeah.
100%. And also, he also indicated that we need to pretty much be united in our, to go before the state senate, so.
Do you need a motion on that?
Yeah, probably. You wanna read it,
It
you
might
wanna
need to
read
be
it
opened
here?
up and then we can table it.
Let people comment, and then we'll make a motion.
Okay, let's,
Is that the way it needs to go, Bo?
I think you can just table it, you can just, just direct staff to put it on a future agenda. If these meetings, it sounds like they're gonna happen before our next
The
meeting,
end of
so
the
we
month,
could just
so,
be
yeah.
directed to put it on the next agenda.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we table that till our next, scheduled meeting.
I'll second that.
okay, all right, we got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's 5 in favor of tabling to the next meeting, so we'll move it forward to the next meeting. All right. Moving down to number 7, is for discussion of possible action, consideration to award a contract.
Yeah.
Well, we're wrong one. Rick Fuller made a motion to approve.
You need to turn over one more page.
Oh, I'm on the minutes.
Yeah, other way.
Hydrologist, we get
We got the hydrologist already?
We get to hear from the famous.
Hydrologist report.
Thank you,
Couple
guys.
before.
There you go.
How do we get the hydrologist already? Okay, hydrologist report.
Besides what I provided in the written report, within there, it's mentioned, this past month ago, we did the water sampling for the whole distribution system. We got those results back, and everything came back either below detect or well below the MCL. Anyways, our water's good. We're pleased with that. Been working with Bones and Collins and Abby, Stubbs and Ford, getting together the map and anything needed for an application for the BLM right-of-ways. That's spent a lot of time there bouncing versions back and forth between everybody in emails. Also, let's see, we went to the Mesquite Irrigation Company meeting. That was on, I think, Monday. Yeah, it was just yesterday. Discussed the water right application that's their discussion of doing to change the place of use to incorporate on the north side as well. Update the Virgin River water rights use. Their shareholders voted on that and passed it to go forward with looking at that. Some other, yeah, and then also this update of some of our water right applications. Had to do extension of times on them. One of them was the Nickel Creek water right, and that's, we'll have to continue to do that until we outfit that with some way of conveying that water and then prove up on it. But that's one of the major ones that we get an extension of time on. But that's kind of the things I've been working on lately.
Can you tell us anything about the Bunkerville diversion, where that is at this point in time? The repair and replacement of?
Yeah, I could a little bit. There's not even a representative from the city here that could give more than me, but I don't know if John Willis would like to, or I can.
It doesn't matter. I can.
Do you mind?
No, I don't mind. Can we come up?
That would be great. Thank you, John.
John Willis, City of Mesquite. The Bunkerville Irrigation Company, the diversion structure obviously failed, so we received the NRCS funding for that. We went out for an RFP, and we narrowed it down to one engineer firm. And so at this point, we've been working with that engineer firm to finalize a cost and hopefully get into a contract. At this point, the original estimate from NRCS, we believe may be short to actually cover the replacement cost of the diversion structure. And so we're in the process of working with NRCS to draft a letter and potentially request more funds to build the structure, more of a replacement structure of what was existing now. And so we're definitely moving forward and hoping to get to that December 20th deadline for construction. So that's kind of where we're at this point with the structure. So, do you have any questions or?
Any questions, Sandra?
Is that for me?
I don't even think it's for me, to
Thank you,
tell you the
John.
truth. I don't
Thanks,
recognize
John.
the
Put you on the
number.
spot there, I appreciate it. John, he's been kind of heading that up, being the city's being the sponsor on that, and
Yeah.
he's had a lot of insight, so thanks for,
Appreciate that.
is there any other questions that,
Seeing no other questions, then we'll go on to the general manager's report.
Thanks, Aaron.
thank you.
Thank you,
It's nice to have you back, Aaron. How was the reunion?
It was much cooler, and the company was good, so it was a good time.
No fights?
Oh, no, never.
They're lovers, not
Thank you. The auditors are here now, working in this room. They'll be here for another couple of days. Wes will need a little bit of extra time over his usual 20 hours a week because of answering questions for them, but it's going well. We've had a good-sized pile of applicants already for the job opening as a treatment one operator. So the proposed schedule I put together would make it possible to hire September 24th if everything goes as expected.
Did, on that, Ken, did that treatment one operator, is that the job that we didn't hire from within then?
I'm sorry, did I say treatment?
Yeah.
I meant distribution. Yeah, treatment we did hire from within. John Stock interviewed, he did very well.
He's gonna move up to that.
He did it very next Monday.
Yeah.
And he's enjoying his work over there. So this is a distribution one operator, I'm sorry. Does not require a certification, but we think we have lots of applicants who are gonna be well qualified and be able to get that certification. Excuse me just a moment here. So excited about that. We've been working on water rights issues. I've gone up into the mountains again. Aaron and I did go down to a Virgin River Habitat Conservation Recovery Plan Executive Committee meeting today in Las Vegas. And we are moving ahead with that, with an understanding that also there's been a request by our board as well as the city's council to look into alternatives of ways to save money. So Aaron and I did also meet with Warren Hardy this afternoon, and Mike Ford and Barry Stubbs from their firm, it's called now. Abby Stubbs and Ford, yeah. So that was very productive also. We were able to further educate Mr. Hardy, and he's going to move ahead. He should have information back for us in the city within a week or two about what might be possible. So we are taking direction from our board. We are moving ahead with that, and Hardy is taking action as well as the group formerly known as Robson.
I think that's what we should call them from now on.
I like that. I'm going to put a symbol like
That's like Prince.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments about the board right now?
Sandra,
No
question?
questions. Looks like you've been busy.
It has been busy, and I will be out next Tuesday through Friday at operator training boot camp. I'm going to be taking operator certification exams in September.
I think I'll go back to the Bayou Trail, I had a great time. 240 miles of it, so. Anyway, we will move on to public comment, because Amy will have some questions about a couple of issues. No? Okay, seeing no questions then, I guess with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Could be a record.
Well,